Welcome back to Creeps with the Crypt. I'm your host, John, here with, what would you call you, Other Alan, or is it Spanish
Well, we'll see if
Alan?
it picks up. Let's do another Other Alan. You
Other
know,
Alan.
the Asian Alan from Film Threat, and this is the Mexican Alan from the Tales from the Creeps from the Crypt show. There you go.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
see.
I almost forgot our own show name.
Yeah, it's all right. It has been more than bi-weekly because I got sick. I was sick for a few days. I still have a cold, but it was pretty bad. It wasn't COVID or anything like that, and it wasn't that bad. So, you got COVID too.
It didn't seem like it. Yeah, I got COVID last month
Before
or so.
we started. Yeah.
I think it's before we started recording everything. You know, ahead of time. Hint. You know, spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler for the people
These
who
things
listen.
get recorded ahead in advance, so I only had it for about I was testing positive for like a good 2 weeks, but after that I started getting negative results. But the downside of the whole thing is just not being able to taste or smell anything for a good couple days, which really depressed me.
Yeah,
'Cause
for me,
there's no point in eating anything or cook anything because you can't taste it.
yeah. When
I barely ate.
I had COVID, I was eating. I was like, why am I even bothering? And I just throw it away because I was like, it was a loss of appetite. Like I'm like, wow, I don't even care. I didn't lose my taste, but
Yeah.
But I this last week I was sick. We spoke pretty much. I told you everything because we were supposed to record. It was the day of that we were supposed to record. I'm like, look, could we hold off to tomorrow because I don't feel well today. Then the next day I was like, bro, I'm not good. I'm not even out of bed. I haven't eaten all day. I'm better
There
now.
wasn't no rush to get it done, so it's good that you're doing well, my friend.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the second episode of Tales from the Crypt this time. Only one episode, and this episode is called Only Sin Deep, and it stars Leah Thompson from Back to the Future, and you reminded me last time, Howard the Duck. Now...
Yeah, Howard the Duck. I think it meant the fourth episode.
Oh, yeah, the fourth episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I keep
The
forgetting that
second
the
one.
first one...
I forget.
You know,
What was the second one again? I forgot.
the second episode?
Yeah.
And all
Was that
Through
the Joey
House.
Pants episode?
No. And All
Oh,
Through the
yeah.
House.
Yeah. I would say, yeah. I mean, we've talked about it before. You guys would hear it, but yeah, the last two have been pretty
Good.
decent.
Yeah. And then we come with
And
this one.
This is like this one's the dip of the season so far.
It's not.
We'll get
yeah,
into it.
It's not terrible. It's a good episode. It's actually before Pretty Woman, so I don't know. Fred Dekker, who wrote this one, he also wrote the last one. I think he wrote the last two. I think he wrote the one with Joey Pants and the one All Through the House. So he wrote a lot of these. He wrote this one, and it's basically Pretty Woman before Pretty Woman, right? You got Leah Thompson. She's a lady of the night. Or as Joey Pants later on will call her, she's a hua. Or a hua.
Hua.
She's a hua.
Yeah, hua.
She's a hua. So she's a lady of the night, and she wants to be with the rich guy across the street, the wealthy guy, who walks into, I guess, a trendy, upper, high fashion, like either party or restaurant with a woman in his arm. And she's like, what does she got that I don't got? And then her friend is like, him. You know, Mr. Moneybags over there. So she's like, I can have him. I'm beautiful. Or whatever. Which Leah Thompson, you know, whatever you want to say, some people might like her or dislike her. She was very beautiful back in the 80s. She was one of the, like, top female actresses to get. You know, I would think it would be her, anyone from the Brat Pack, Molly Ringwald, Demi Moore.
Yeah, they were the big ones at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shelley
I don't
Long,
know. I don't know too much of who else was hot at the time, but yeah, she was one of them for sure. And we won't take that away from her.
Oh, Molly Ringwald.
But yeah,
I think Molly Ringwald and her, because Molly Ringwald was like the girl next door. Everybody, she was in all the John Hughes films, and Leah Thompson was like the strawberry blonde. She was right there, you know. She got cast for Back to the Future for a reason. She was beautiful, you know, and she was a pretty good actress when you look at Back to the Future because she's playing old Marty's mom, and you never really at least in the first one, she does a pretty good, like, you're like, oh my god, that is the same woman, right? And she plays 3 different versions of herself in that movie, which I don't think is easy for actors.
The older current version, right? And then the one in the future where like Biff is like
no, that's in part 2. So I'm talking about the first
2.
movie. In the first movie, she plays alcoholic Marty's mom. Yeah, she's like, your uncle didn't make it heroic again. And then later she's young, innocent, but not so innocent Marty teenage mom. And then in the future she's Marty's mom, just like, but like all different versions. She's not an alcoholic anymore. Mom, you look so thin. Oh, thank you, Marty. And then George slaps her ass. And she goes, George. But yeah, so she's in this, and she's very beautiful in this episode. And this episode's about her wanting to. How would you describe this episode? Besides, okay, so we're gonna get to the part where like, but without getting to that part, like her character. I don't know. It's hard. Let's just say
we can. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about her character, and then just pretty much.
She's a bitch.
Talk about the scenes leading up to everything. But yeah, I mean, it's just starts out in New York. It looked like it was New York, or probably filmed somewhere else. But it made it look like it was someplace in New York. And she placed a prostitute, and it's just her and this other girl that's like the ladies of the night, as they say. We're just watching those those folks go into that rich party, and then she's just very vain, very just all about cares about looks and money. That's kind of what I gathered from
that's
her
name.
Character.
She plays Sylvia Vane, or those Vane like
that's the that's the little on the nose thing they go with her name. Even the guy that she ends up meeting later on in the party, we'll get to what his name is too. It kind of connects as well to this whole episode. But yeah, she wants to just not be a whore no more. She wants to live a good life. She wants to have a rich guy and go to the rich party. So after that there's like a pimp that's coming up to them, and then she ends up shooting him in a very awkward. I remember there's a very awkward scene that them fighting over fighting over the gun that she pulled out on him, right?
No, they don't fight. I remember he comes out earlier, and then he's talking or whatever, and he's trying to get her to be his hoe, and she's like, I don't need you, whatever. And then she goes to the alley later after she sees Mr. Moneybags, right, across the street, and she's like, what does that girl got that I don't got? And she says, him, money, whatever. So she goes, for some reason, I'm gonna rob the pimp. So she goes up to him. She goes, I'm sorry, baby, whatever. And then she's playing with him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know you want to come work for me or whatever. And then she takes out a gun. Just give me everything you fucking got, And he's like, are you fucking serious? I'm going to fucking kill you after. Then she's like, yeah, I'm serious. Give me everything. She takes everything and she kills him. Which doesn't make her friend very happy, because she runs up to her friend. She goes, we got our freedom. So I don't know if he was her pimp, or if he used to be or I don't know what the hell is going on. But
it's not really explained, but yeah, she steals his she kills him and just robs him of his whatever everything he had on him, jewelry and some other stuff, a watch I think it was. And then she goes to to a pawnbroker or to try to sell the stuff that she just robbed the pimp from, and then there's like when she comes in, there's just an old lady with a veil covering her face that runs out and just screams at him as she leaves the store, right? So and then she goes tries to offer to buy the stuff that she stole, but he wouldn't bite. He said the stuff was hot. What's that slang? The hot that it was stolen or something? Yeah. The guy already stole it.
It's hot. I don't want it. I'm not touching it or whatever. And she says, like, go fuck himself. And he goes, wait, something else I'll buy. And she's like, I'm done with that business. Last night was my last night, mister. I ain't gonna screw you. And he goes, no. I want your beauty. And he pulls out like 10 grand. And then, so she's like, what? So then they go to the back room, and she's like, well, you're gonna pay me $10,000 so you could take a mold of my face, and he goes, not of your face, of your beauty. So she says, yeah, whatever. So he does it, and then he tells her she has 40 days, right? Or 4 months. She has 4 months to come back. That's a long time to reclaim the ticket for her beauty, for her mold. So she's like, oh, whatever. So then she goes on her little Pretty in Pink moment when she's shopping everywhere and wearing all the fancy clothes and looking like $1 million now with only 10,000. I mean, 10,000 in the 80s is probably like, to now, I don't know.
20 grand,
yeah,
20 grand, maybe a little bit more.
20, 30, 25,000.
Nowadays, she couldn't even buy half the stuff. Not even close to half of the stuff that she was wearing now.
Let's see, $10,000 in 1989, right? Today would be how much? Because, you know.
Yeah, I don't think she'll get far with it. It's more nitpicking, but yeah, I mean, I guess the point is, yeah, she's trying to dress the part, and then somehow, some way, she gets in the party grand. With all these rich aristocrats here. I don't know how she gets in, just because she had a nice change of clothes.
Because she's hot.
They just let her in. Yeah,
she's fucking Sylvia Vane, bro. She's hot. Vane. She can just walk in whenever she wants.
Oh yeah, and then they had this weird '80s like hold music playing the whole scene.
Very weird music.
This party.
Yeah, this episode had very
like
weird
the sable panther roar throughout that whole music.
Yeah,
just waiting for the whip to kick in.
Yeah,
there's a lot of boring dialogue there, and then we learn her last name is Vane, right? And the guy's name that she's really into, that looks like he's got some money, is named Price. Get it?
Oh.
And
what's your price? Yes.
Yeah, so that's very on the nose there.
It's a little weird too. Like he likes being humiliated. It seems like, or like he's like, I have everything I want, and for some reason, well, we didn't get to the elephant in the room, so I think we should address the elephant in the room before going any further. Two things about this. Yes, last episode I told you, wait till you hear, or see the episode, right? And you said, okay.
Oh yeah, we kind of got into a little bit, I guess, talking about. I mean, one part, I don't know what the other one is you're mentioning, but the director Howard Deutch.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
I just want to get to the one thing. I
different one.
That stuff we'll get into later, after we talk about the episode.
All right, you tell me.
We watched it after we filmed or recorded our last episode. So we were watching it at the same time, and you were laughing, and I recorded the audio from a certain point.
Okay. My mind was all over the place. But
I have all that recorded. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put it in here in this episode. Maybe I'll be like, look, here's a little bonus thing of what we said. I don't know. Maybe not. But the main thing I was saying.
If there's anything good in it, you can include it.
Yeah. The main thing I was trying to say. Well, there is some good stuff in there. But main thing I wanted to say was, like, wait till you hear her voice in this episode. Like, and then you did, and you started laughing as soon as you heard her open her mouth, which is in the audio.
Yeah.
And then we started laughing. Then we were discussing this accent she did. Like, why she decided to do this accent. But we'll get to that later. We'll go back to it. But anyway, she meets Mr. Price, and she humiliates him in front of all his rich friends in this, right? Like, she throw like the champagne in his face and smacks him and like embarrasses him. Everyone's like, "What the hell?" And she's
she's like playing hard to get. Yeah, playing hard to get and stuff. Keep in mind, I don't know how old she was at the time, but yeah, she's supposed to be like 21, like this in this episode. They mentioned that.
And he goes and he simps for her when he leaves the party, and he goes with her, and then they stay together for 4 months. He's Mr. Richard Gere, and she's taking care of her. So in that brief time period, when they come back, it says 4 months later, you could tell that they kind of made her look like something's wrong. She's not looking as young as she did.
She's looking less and less like youthful, or compared to how she was looking then. Like, it looked like she's starting to get wrinkles and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was obviously intentional, because I think when we were watching it live, you go, she's supposed to be this, but this is right at the time when, so it worked, because I believe when we were watching it, right at the scene where she's in the bathtub, and he's kissing her, or whatever. I think you were like, how old is she supposed to be? You said, right? I think you said, like, hey, you go, he's supposed to want her? Like, and I'm like, no, but that's because it's been, she's losing her beauty. So she starts to lose her beauty, and then she finally puts it together after going to, like, a dermatologist. The dermatologist said, like, I can't explain why you have the skin of a 70-year-old woman, even though you're a 21-year-old, you know?
I mean, good on him. I mean, because she was like looking and just hyper focused on herself in the mirror and stuff the whole time they had the conversation with the guy that she was with. They didn't really said or made clear if they were married or they were just together.
I think they're engaged.
But yeah, she's just been self-conscious about it as it's it started happening, and as they're like, even after having sex, she's just looking at herself in the mirror, and the guy's just all into it, and it's good on him because I don't know why I guess he was being nice or just didn't say anything, because clearly it's a drastic difference. He just acts like it's all normal and stuff, and he's she's trying to put on makeup to cover it up and stuff. But yeah, the doctor said, yeah, just there's no reason why this is happening. He just started asking her if she came in contact with anything in the last couple months, and then that led to that reminder somehow that the 4 months had passed since she had sold her beauty to the guy at the pawn shop. And then afterwards, like she tries to get her beauty back or a refund, and since it was already past the deadline by, I think he's mentioned 1 day. So now, in order to get her beauty back, he's like demanding 100K.
Yeah. And then she goes to the house of Mr. Price and robs him. I'm pretty sure they're engaged. She takes all his. They've been dating for 4 months because he's a simp. So she takes all his stuff and is gonna sell it or pawn it to get the money to instead of going to him and saying, "Listen, I need $100,000. Why? Look at my fucking face." She would be like, "Oh, okay, honey."
Yeah, that the rationale there didn't make much sense. Like, I don't know why she had to
jump.
I know I guess she was panicked, but she just like drastically just immediately jumped to just going back to their place or his place because he was away on business, he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just started ransacking this place to get look like he was just trying to pawn off whatever she could to get that money put together. But prior to that, I don't think we mentioned it, but like the guy looked like he was doing some kind of weird voodoo stuff, and then he has like he'll mention later in the episode, because I don't think they do it prior, but you see like this woman laying in like a casket, and she looks dead.
No,
right?
that she puts it. We could say because she puts that together herself too. So like we saw the body when she left. She says 4 months. She got 4 months to recoup that fucking hit the ticket, right? So then you see that he has like a corpse in a coffin in the back of his fucking place. So this white guy knows voodoo or whatever. His wife died or something. He's trying to steal, or not steal. Yeah, these women are giving him their beauty so he could bring back his dead wife. So we saw her dead like that. We saw the voodoo stuff. It's not mentioned that it is voodoo throughout the episode. We don't know, but you could just say that we believe it's voodoo because it's all like she does say voodoo. She says, "You're voodoo shit."
He was saying some Ade Dewey Dembala shit prior to her going into the shop. Afterward, yeah.
She says, "I don't give me your voodoo. I don't care what you do, your voodoo shit. You give back my beauty." And then
the accent, the accent's terrible. That's the part I forgot to mention because we talked about it so much. It just like it became a mute point. Yeah. But yeah, it's really bad. It's like
it's not her
someone's
acting,
interpretation.
Though. It's
not the acting. It's just the way
accent.
that she chose to talk. Yeah, it seemed out of place.
People are gonna say, "What do you mean? It's not?" No, it is. You could act and be like believable in the scene. You could, but you chose to go with the crazy voice. And
the example I could think of is like Clive Owen in Sin City. Like, he's supposed to have an American accent, but his American accent is terrible. But it was good in the movie. I think that's the closest I could think of to that kind of an example. The way that she chose to spoke is just what was bad about the episode.
Yeah,
like, she was fine as an actress. She played the part well, and what they needed her to do in the episode is just the accent takes you out of it.
And then the guy tells her she got this past the time, but she could for $100,000, so she goes to rob her husband, right? then she starts
and then he comes
the
back.
apartment. Yeah.
Yeah.
She starts destroying it
Comes
like
back.
if he was robbed, like mugged, like somebody broke in to steal, so she wouldn't get blamed for it, I guess. And like we said, instead of telling him this is what happened, no. So he comes in and sees this old woman, and he can't recognize her at all because the makeup is so fabulous that she looks like a different person. No, she looks the same. She just looks older. Like they make her, gave her grandma makeup.
Yeah,
but
she just
you can
looks
tell
like
it's her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's
Yeah,
like, who are you?
but I guess that we were meant to believe that
Yeah.
that she looked drastically different. But yeah.
And then she decides to kill him.
Yeah, out of nowhere, she pulls out the gun. I think that she robbed from the pimp or something, but from the earlier episode, and just shoots him like 5 times, like narco style. It's like it's like that. Was that really necessary? So I don't know what their relationship was. They never really developed it too much, or we never really got to know the backstory of that. I don't know if she was with the Guma or what.
He probably enjoyed it because look at
it just
how they
seemed.
met. She embarrassed him. She threw champagne in his face. She smacked him, humiliated him in front of everybody. In bed, she was probably beating this guy up. He was probably into S&M shit. So then when this time came, she probably said, you know what?
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to kill you with love. And she went and shot him 5 times. We didn't get all that subtext, but she shot him 5 times, and he was coming every time he got shot. He's like, yeah,
Oh, that would explain all that white stuff coming out of his pants.
He knew it was her when she went a little crazy. I'm going to empty this clip in your ass. So
I would have found that dynamic to be interesting if they incorporated it in the episode a little bit somehow.
Yeah, right?
Like they were into the kinky shit. But we don't really get too much of a. Yeah, I mean the episodes are 30 minutes. Sometimes, this is the thing I love about Tales from the Crypt. Sometimes is that there are really interesting ideas and concepts for some of these episodes that you wish that they could have expanded it a little bit. Sometimes 30 minutes feels like it's not long enough. But
I know.
The way things are now, I think it's perfect length, and I would say that for some episodes I wish they were longer.
Unlike Freddy's Nightmares, they have an hour.
Yeah, that one seems to be the opposite.
It's like kill me.
It's got way too much time.
This one sometimes a half hour is perfect, or sometimes a half hour is too short. It's just. But anyway,
right.
She goes to the pawn shop guy, and
after doing all that to her guy, she goes back to the pawn shop and then looked like it was closed, and she just breaks in pretty much.
Remember we were watching it, and we were like, that lock is not holding anybody out of anything. Like, what is that? It's not even on the door.
No, that's a terrible lock.
It's
a terrible lock. Yeah. It looked like a latch that connects to the door, but you could easily unscrew the latch and just get in, and you don't even need the lock. Let me send you the screenshot of this because
I remember.
Really
I was like,
that should be the thumbnail of this episode. It's that freaking lock. It's the worst security ever for even for 1990 standards.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes back to the pawn shop. It's closed. She breaks in, and then she sees what we were talking about. She sees like the guy's wife, I guess. It looked like she looks like she's improved. Like she wasn't all bone and stuff earlier. Now it's looked like a person, like a normal person sleeping. It looked like. So she's looking at that, and then the guy sneaks up from behind her.
She demands him to. She shows all the jewelry she stole. She's like, and he said, she's like, make me. I don't give a fuck. Like, here's the money. Make me back to whatever. She goes, yeah, I can do that for you. I can make you back to your beauty. And then shows her a newspaper that has her fucking picture and as Sylvia Vane and Mr. Bright or Price, whatever the fuck, on the front cover. And we know why she picked that voice, because it's New York. It's a New York supposed newspaper, and they got her dead to rights. The gold digger that killed. So she's like, oh fuck, I gotta be this disgusting. And the makeup is pretty grotesque. It's not like your old age.
It seems like
makeup.
it starts to get worse as
like
it goes along.
Yeah, it makes
it looked like old used leather. Yeah. Like someone's ass in the hot summer in leather seat.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It
So
starts to get it gets worse up until that last part. Yeah, so the guy pretty much just telling her, yeah, it's weird because this is just nitpicking, but yeah, like it happened. I would assume she went to the pawn shop immediately after, right?
mhm.
So how the hell did they
No,
already
they already
discover
knew
it
it.
through fingerprinting and everything? They already knew
They already knew.
that she was the one that did it, and it was already on the paper.
They looked her
But
up
when
and they said, "Oh, he's been dating a
the paper,
prostitute." Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah,
yeah.
you could say that.
He's been dating a
It's just
prostitute. Her
crazy
picture's
how
here. Her fingerprints are on the gun, and they were like, "That's it." But there's, I guess, must have instantaneously. As soon as she killed, it's ridiculous. It's a little bit. That is a little bit ridiculous. You're correct.
I guess more so on the how quick everything happened.
Yes,
like,
it's
how
just,
quick
literally she
was
just
already
killed him,
on the
and
newspaper.
it's on the
Yeah.
newspaper. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
But yeah, I mean that's I guess we could just assume that happened maybe a few days.
She ain't gonna wait a few days looking like that. She went the
who
same
knows?
minute, the same day. It's just a half hour later. In a half hour, the newspaper printed on her picture. This
No,
guy's
that's
like
true.
Sex
Yeah,
and the City,
I'm
Mr. Big.
yeah. That's how it came off. I'm just trying to see if I can give this episode a slack in that regard.
No,
But
not
yeah,
that.
now that you think about it, it seemed like it was pretty instant. So I'm just trying not to nitpick about it. But there's a lot of those stuff that happens like that in some episodes. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it go. But worth it bringing up at least. So
Right.
she realizes, yeah, there's no way that she can get her beauty back without getting immediately arrested by the cops once she's like out in public, I guess. And she takes the mold of her face that she did earlier in the episode and just sadly walks out of the pawn shop, just out in the street, just looking all depressed. And she bumps into her old walking buddy Raven, and then the thing shatters onto the ground, and the girl didn't recognize her, and just is just telling her to watch where she was going, you old bitch.
Yeah.
And then the episode, yeah, it just kind of ends with her trying to pick up the pieces of her
Face.
shattered, face, pretty much.
So let me ask you, what would you give this episode?
I was pretty harsh on it the first time I watched it. I guess because I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, I think after going back to it again, rewatching it before we, had recorded this again for proper review, because we only just bullshitted
bullshit,
and watched it.
Yeah,
So
just
I'd
bullshit.
say, yeah, it's not my favorite episode so far of the season. I would have to go to the Joey Pants episode at least for season 1, and then number 2, yeah, the Christmas one, Through the Night, was pretty solid. Shit, I might even have to give the first one a better score than this. But I'd say not a bad idea in concept. Like I always talk about concepts and good ideas and what makes a good Tales from the Crypt episode. I would say the idea is there. I just don't think they executed the journey to the end of it all. I think some things could have been a little bit better polished, and just a terrible decision to go with that terrible New York accent, very stereotypical New York accent. I guess that something that an open micer would make that kind of impression, right? And that's about it. I'd say I give it out of 5. I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5. I think
that's lower than me.
I think what helps the episode from being less of a score than that, I guess, was I think the idea of the episode, the direction wasn't all that bad.
I like this one. I like this one more than the pilot. I still like this one more than the pilot. So I give this one. I give this one
very close to me. Yeah, very close.
This is much better. The pilot, even before. But anyway, I'll give this 3 out of 5. To be fair, also the idea that knowing that this came out before Pretty Woman, so that this had an idea that somebody saw, wrote a script, and made Pretty Woman a fame. And they definitely, that's how it works a lot of times in Hollywood. Somebody will see something that already was done, take the part of it out, and say, okay, we'll take this part out. This way they can't get sued. Fred Dekker's not going to sue. The people that run the Tales from the Crypt are not going to sue. Because it's just the idea of a prostitute with a rich guy. I mean, that's probably written a lot of other places before this, but hey, this came out a year before, exactly, I think, before Pretty Woman came out. And that means this was filmed, obviously, before it aired. right? So there's no fucking way. You know what I mean? It's somehow either.
I would say it could have been inspired by it, but all at the same time, the idea, it's something that could have been come up with by multiple people. That just the way that they structured it all together. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's like a year apart, right, from the air date of that, and then Pretty Woman, right? It seemed like it was 90. Pretty Women came out, and I think 89 was when that first season was kicking off. So I mean, it could be possible. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's hard to say. It's just speculation.
So now that we've finished and you gave it a 2 out of 5, I think that's what I gave the pilot, and you thought that was too low. And I thought you giving this is way too low. But hey, we're not gonna have the same opinions on every episode. Some episodes we're gonna love, like the last two, and some we're not. But I like this one a little bit more, even before this happened. So while we were watching this, we were talking a lot of shit on in the commentary, which
as we
I
do,
don't
yeah.
know if we're gonna put it up, but I was like, who who let her do this voice? I asked that question. I said,
Yeah.
who the hell let her do this voice? So as a director, how are you gonna let her go in there and embarrass herself like this? No offense, Leah Thompson. No, so
Well, I know that Tales from the Crypt can be kind of tongue in cheek and be a movie, but
yeah,
the way that they played this episode off was pretty straight
the
for the
only
most
thing
part.
that-
Besides some of the weird music choices.
The accent was so.
Yeah.
It was okay. Anyway, so I was like, first off, as a New Yorker myself, that's not a New York accent. So I
Right.
was like, I said this, and we were watching it for the first time, and I'm like, where's it? I think this is supposed to be New York. I thought the whole episode till the end, and I was like, oh, when we saw, I said this New York when the cop came in. I said because I know the badges very easily, and it's like first off, they didn't even put 5 numbers on his on his badge on his hat. He's got a bootleg different number for his fucking whatever patrolman's badge on his shirt. I was like, whatever. This whatever. I was getting upset with that because I write scripts about anyway. So I looked at the director. I said, who's this director? Like, how did he let her do this? And I'm like, oh, maybe he's not because I don't know the name. The name didn't sound very familiar. But then I looked and I'm like, wait, well, this guy's directed a lot of things. Like, this is not like, this isn't a nobody. This director has directed Pretty in Pink, right? I was like, wait, he directed Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, which she was in, Leah Thompson was in, The Great Outdoors, and then Tales from the Crypt. But he's worked on big movies. Those 3 movies were not little movies, all right? It's Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, The Great Outdoors, right? Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah, that's one of them, and the sequel to Grumpy Old Men.
Oh, yeah. So
in the Odd Couple 2. I didn't even know there was a second one.
So I'm like, wait, he's a good director. What is this? And I said, well, maybe he worked with her once before, and now he's working with her again. And I used some choice language. I was like, maybe he was trying to get with her or whatever. And then I literally said this, right? This is not making it up. I don't want to play the audio back to prove myself like I did something great because it's just I was smack talking, right? And I'm like, oh, maybe.
That was evidently the point of it. We were just bullshitting.
Bullshit, yeah. But I was like,
we're not saying any of this is concrete.
So
it's just.
I said, I was like, I looked at his IMDb and I said maybe he was trying to get with her, or something. And I clicked his IMDb, and I was like, oh my God, they're married, right? So we started making jokes, and then I was like, no wonder he let her do this. I said they got married a month after this episode aired. Maybe they were dating, and they just got married. And then I decided, because, I have my connections in Hollywood. We all know this. Everyone knows that I know a lot of people in Hollywood. Okay. They don't help me much. But this time they decided to help me. And I reached out to someone who knows Mrs. Thompson, and she sent us this right here. And I'm going to play it for everyone home, because I decided to ask her a couple of questions.
Hey, Creeps of the Crypt. Leah Thompson here. aka Sylvia Vane. That's Vane, as in weather. I have so many memories about making that. My husband Howie directed it, and I was shooting Back to the Future 2. So I had to do it. I was shooting it at the same time, and the only reason they let me do that was because Bob Zemeckis was a producer on Tales from the Crypt and wanted it to be successful. So I would shoot all day and age makeup in Back to the Future, and then I'd have to go take that makeup off and put on the other makeup for Tales from the Crypt. It was an awful time, actually. Because I got in this weird place where I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep for like 4 days because I was so nervous about making my call for Back to the Future 2. And but I am very proud of it, and I thought it was funny, and so many funny stories. One of them is that my husband Howie Deutch was directing it, and right before we started the first take, we hadn't even discussed it. I was like, I'm going to do some crazy New York accent, okay? And he said, okay, action.
Just like that.
I just did that crazy accent, which was really fun. And also, weirdly, my best girlfriend, Michelle's boyfriend, was Britt Cullen, and he was the guy I was supposed to be making out with. So I couldn't, it really was like kissing my brother. I was just like, ew! And so my husband was like, you gotta act like you're enjoying it. And I was like, ew, gross. So there was that during that scene where we're supposed to be having sex or something like that. I can't remember. But I love the leather dress. My brother's in it. My brother says, welcome to the party. When I crash that party before I meet Britt Cullen. So anyway, did I answer all your questions?
Yes.
Yes. I just read the script
More I
and
have
I
in
thought
mind,
it was funny, and I kind of had no choice because Bob Zemeckis was producing it and my husband was directing it, so I had to do it. But it was a lot of fun, and I love Tales from the Crypt. So thank you for loving Tales from the Crypt. Hope you had a few chuckles from my crazy stories, and all the very best.
Yep. So,
now we know.
Yeah, now we know that it was exactly how I said it was. Pretty much.
More or less,
More or less. But, I was being bombastic and, I was being over, I don't know. I was making jokes like I do with my Freddy's Nightmares, things like that. So I don't know. I have to go through that audio to see because I like Mrs. Thompson. She's a nice lady. I liked her in this episode. Just the accent was the only thing that was crazy. I do like her in Back to the Future. And I did say while we were watching it, I was right there in the audio commentary. I go, you know what she's doing? And you go, what? And I go, she's doing the same voice she's doing in Back to the Future Part 2. That when she's and you said, oh, from the Biff timeline when she's Biff's wife. From the alternate timeline. I go, yes.
That's why it reminded me of that, yeah.
Where she goes, you're the one that wanted me to get these things.
Get
and
these
now,
things.
she was actually filming both, and she probably was inspired to do that voice also because she got to do it in the future scenes for Back to the Future, kind of. So,
yeah, it connects, and I think I'm sure she was explained that the show is not necessarily supposed to be taken that serious. So I guess she just had a little bit more fun with the accent, even though it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I guess for our review,
but
it didn't gel with us. No. But I guess I get the context of why she did it that way. No. Funny enough, that little bit you mentioned about performing those love scenes with the guy and that's a friend of hers in real life. Thomas Wayne is true, and Joker. Yeah. Apparently that little tidbit's on IMDb.
He's also.
That.
He's also. Let me see. I forgot. I think I had it on his thing. That's why I knew it was because I looked at it. Oh, it's Thomas Wayne.
One of the goofs was that they had the same picture before and after the 4 months in the shop. I have to take a look at that again. Apparently it changed. Apparently it was the same photo, like time never passed.
Anyway, that was nice of Miss Thompson to answer those questions, and it seemed like, and she answered more than I asked, and she seemed to really enjoy answering that, and but she didn't. I guess she did, because I was like, "Were you cast?" Obviously, no. She wasn't. She kind of said no. She did it because of Robert Zemeckis and her husband, so they got her the role. But anyway, as I said, I don't think it was bad because of her. I don't think her acting was bad. It was her accent, the accent she decided to go with. If she played it straightforward, I think it would have probably went over a little better. Probably a lot better.
If she just didn't do the accent, I think I would have enjoyed the episode a little bit better. I would have given it a 2.5 out of 5. No. To be fair,
I would have given then I would have given it a 3.5 out of 5. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. But it's not a bad episode. I really like this episode, to be honest. I really do like it. It does set up a lot of the things that you'd see, like we know there's no happy endings in these episodes, and it ends up with the same way, but in a different way. Not us screaming no, that terror is right by her daughter, right in the episode 2 or 3, where the guy he realizes he does not have 9 lives. He does not have an extra life. Like, this is his last life. Like, he's going to die. He's going to die. Help me. Get me out of here. Like, she's like, it's like a miserable, like, failure. Like a sad, depressing ending.
Yeah, good ending. It could have... Yeah, that's why I was going back to saying that there were some of those inconsistencies and, things that made you question her motives that won't really cleared out or laid out in any kind of shape or form. I mean, you heard me. I was trying to come up with ideas or excuses as to why these things happen. I mean, most of the stuff that we talked about was all that. So that's partly why I graded it that way, as more objectively than anything. Because the other ones that we like are clear and concise. The Joy Pants episode's clear and concise. What the stakes are. The twist was laid out perfectly and it executed. It's just about partly that, some of the inconsistencies, the execution, the bad voice. That's all about it. I think if they had polished it up a bit more, I think I would have enjoyed it more. I would say, at least, even though I didn't give it a great score, I did enjoy it the second time watching it. I appreciated it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. In the future, whenever we get to it, if we ever get to it, I gotta call in my connections to see what's John Lovitz's backstory on him doing Tales from the Crypt episode, because I did watch.
Oh, that's season 3.
I did watch that one at some point, which I did enjoy.
That's season 3. Yeah, I will say I haven't seen a lot of things that Leah Thompson has done. I think I said that in the first episode whenever we talked about this briefly. Okay, I did see Howard the Duck. I did see Back to the Future on 2 and 3. I did see, and I loved Howard the Duck as a kid. Okay, I know it's absurd and bizarre, and maybe if I review that, I'll ask her why did she question ever having relations with a duck? But look, you work as an actor too, like she said. You're working with George Lucas. George Lucas, I think, directed Howard the Duck. Am I wrong? I think he directed Howard the Duck. No. William Hyatt, whatever. George Lucas directed.
I feel like he was a producer on it.
Yeah, he was the producer of Howard the Duck. So, I mean, come on. Anyway, there was. She did Red.
I guess she's one of those good actresses that doesn't necessarily have to question everything. Maybe they just go along.
Sometimes you just go along, and not just that. Some actors just do that, just in general. But I was thinking this before. She did an episode of Law and Order SVU with Abigail Breslin, that she played a mom that abducts, because is her egg that was used to. These couple bought her egg, right? And they had a sperm, her father's sperm, whatever, went into the egg or whatever, and had the baby. So she's crazy, Leah Thompson's character. She abducts the baby because she says it's her baby, kidnaps her basically. And then she's trying to sue, and they said that by law she'll win the custody of the baby. And that's when Abigail Breslin's a little kid and she's crying. It's a great scene, and that I remember that scene for some other reason. I forgot how it came up, and I was like, oh my God, that's Leah Thompson in this. And I was like, yeah, she's a good, really, really, like, Okay, I haven't seen everything she did, but she's a really good actress. The girl's got range. So, the lady's got range. So that's all I want to say about that. So yes. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this episode was decent. I might think I like this one more than the next one. I'm gonna have to rewatch the next one again. And the last one, I hate the last episode of this season. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a struggle to get through because it's so annoying.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the last two fare when next time we get together to talk about it. I'll let you know how it is, because like those last two I hadn't seen before either, because I was skipping around seasons with the episodes you recommended me, so these would be fresh for me. So we'll see how they compare to the other episodes that I really like out of the whole series. So we'll have to see how they are, and maybe we'll probably do like a ranking of like our favorite episodes of this season, and see where our lists similar and where they differ. I think it's gonna be much like this one. We're gonna have a little bit differences on that one, on how the list gets put together. We'll see. Well, I look forward to checking out the last two.
I don't think we're gonna do a list for the first season. It's too fast.
No, I figured we mentioned it. If you wanted to do it, we could do.
Maybe we'll do that in the last episode.
The last episode we just talk about our favorite ones or top 5 of this season, even though there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The first season.
And the first 3 we did in one episode of our podcast. So we only got like two more episodes.
Oddly enough, once we get through those, we'll
we got a lot to do.
We'll get to watching the other one that I liked a lot. You recommended was season 2, episode 1 with Demi Moore, Dead Right.
Oh yeah, that's a great.
Which coincidentally was directed by Howard Deutch. Directed this episode. That one I prefer more than this one.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So we can agree on that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's one of my favorites. I love that one. So that's the episode. That's episode 2 for us, which is episode 4 for you guys. Only Sin Deep. I'd like to thank Ms. Thompson for answering my phone call and accepting the charges. So
Absolutely.
That was that. It was nice of her to respond and tell us more information than we even asked for. And again, I don't know if I'm gonna include the audio commentary on here. I had to re-listen and see what all this shit I was saying, but it was tongue in cheek anyway. But it's very foul language. Very foul language. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but we'll see. Might be a side episode. I might include it as another episode, as a commentary track episode.
Throw it up on the future Patreon.
Yeah, right? Yeah, maybe. All right, somebody's calling my house. They want the rent money. So I will talk to you guys next time when we review episode 5, which is, what's the title?
It's, let me pull it up real quick. I was away from the IMDb.
Yeah.
And I was looking at other stuff that we got sidetracked on. Lover, Come Hack to Me is the next episode.
I think I don't.
Amanda Plummer from.
Let's see how you feel. It'll determine how I feel about that episode, to be honest. Hold on, because I can hear the fucking. It's a telemarketer calling and not saying anything. Just talking and talking and talking. I'm gonna go and curse it.
Okay. Go for it.
Anyway, you fucking prick. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, next episode's what?
Lover, Come Hack to Me.
All right.
Is the next
Amanda
one.
Plummer and some Fabio-looking guy. Yeah, we'll
I thought
see.
that was Lou Diamond Phillips for a second, but from the screenshot, but that's not him.
No, Lou Diamond Phillips is a much better actor, especially on Blue Bloods. You watched this episode. We're gonna watch it again. Obviously, I'm gonna see if I like it or not. I already know the concept. I'm not gonna spoil it here. It is the first of its kind for this season, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. We'll talk about it next week. And yeah, like we said, maybe we'll throw up that commentary episode that we did for Only Sin Deep on the future Patreon. So
There you
anyway,
go.
we'll talk to you guys, and not next week, the week after, whenever it's uploaded. Whenever you catch this, that's when you catch it. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.